Hello and welcome everyone. This is Type V3 with a robot Damashii review of the Crossbone Gundam X-2 Kai, a modified version of the original X-2 which appeared only in the Mobile Suit Crossbone Gundam manga series. Now, if this figure looks familiar, it should, because it is, at its core, a repaint of the earlier released Crossbone Gundam X1 full cloth. With that said, I won't assess the X2 completely, instead focusing only on the differences. For a better understanding of the toy as a whole, make sure to check out my original Robot Damashii X1 full cloth review. Starting with the visual side, the most significant change is obviously the color scheme. It's much darker overall, with the yellow and indigo highlights offering a bold sense of contrast. For the actual physical changes, the X thrusters have been enlarged, giving off a more aggressive appearance. Also, the X2 lacks the feather in the head sculpt, as well as the large skull in the chest that was present on the previous X1. Overall, I generally enjoy the changes made here, and of all the Crossbone Gundams, the X2 Kai is my personal favorite. Since this figure utilizes the same full-action body as its predecessor, articulation remains identical to the X1. Even specific features have been carried over, such as the working beam markers and the heat dagger hilt stored in the calves. Unfortunately, there are no included effect parts to make use of these items. As for what extra accessories you do get, well, sadly there isn't a lot. First up is a secondary face with the mouth vent opened up. Of all the Crossbone Gundams to carry this feature, I think this option works best with the X2's color scheme. Next up is a Tamashii Stage adapter to be used with, well, a Tamashii Stage. It plugs in at the bottom of the rear waistskirt and allows for dynamic display options. Do note, however, that you will need to purchase a Tamashii Stage separately. Moving on, and we have two pairs of gripping hands, one straight and one angled. These are meant for the X2's beam sabers, and I have to admit, these are some of the best beam saber effects I've seen. They're just so lively. You even get replaceable shoulder racks to show the sabers are in use. Not entirely necessary, but the attention to detail is appreciated. Finally, the X2 includes a single right open hand with a peg hole in the palm. This is used for the Gundam's largest inclusion, the Buster Launcher. It's sculpted nicely, though the all-gray finish is a tad dull. The main controls can be moved slightly to adjust for various poses, and despite its length, it presents no weight issues. If anything, a large effect part for the weapon would have been nice. And that's all there really is to the Robot Damashii Crossbone Gundam X2 Kai. Overall, it's a great little action figure, but at the same time, it's impossible not to think of this release as a whole as just being a bit bare bones, especially when you consider that the previous release, the X1 full cloth, included an abundance of accessories. Sure, the X2 retails for a slightly cheaper price to reflect this fact, still I do think Bandai could have included something else to entice the fans. Maybe a custom display base, or even the X2's signature weapon, the Shot Lancer. I will say this, however, the minimal accessories makes this a great go-to pick-up-and-play toy. Changing up a pose or just fiddling around with it doesn't have to be a time-consuming event. If simplicity is what you're after, then the X2 Kai is perfectly suited for you. No, it's not a better package than the X1 full cloth, yet if the general design is more suited to your tastes, then I'm sure you shouldn't be left disappointed. But that's all for me, and thanks for watching. At this point, I'd like to offer a clever hint at covering the Robot Damashii Crossbone Gundam X3 next, but that's a Tamashii Web exclusive, and long story short, it's far more trouble than it's worth to acquire.